Hey everyone. So today we are going to do a little demo of the BYTEcaster digital signage platform that Reality Bytes operates. So this whole platform is operated or configured through a web browser. We do recommend using Google Chrome as the browser of choice, although it will work on any modern browser. Also, we do recommend doing this from a laptop or a desktop and not from a mobile device because the way our platform formats out, it's definitely easier to do this on a larger screen size. So when you're ready, you just go into Google Chrome and you go to the website of screens.bytecaster.ca. You can also get to this website from our main website at realitybytesinc.com, and we will provide you with a username and a password. So essentially, we're just going to log in here. There we go. Okay, so we're in. The next step is to just go through a brief explanation of the whole platform. So we have here a scheduler, pretty self-explanatory, where we can schedule designs, campaigns, layouts, design templates, different design resolutions. Then under library, we have where your media is stored and data sets. Then displays, display groups, and statistics. So we will start at displays actually. So each TV or display unit that you have is going to have one of our hardware devices. These are generally speaking an Android-based device, and they're purpose-built to do digital signage. So they have a special type of Android OS and then our software, and they're designed to just connect and stay online all the time. You really don't have to fiddle with them much. They just essentially need to be powered on. In the display screen here, you're going to see all the digital signage devices, and they'll have a name. It'll give you a status. So if it's got the check mark, you're completely good and up to date. If it's got this exclamation mark, it says it's out of date. So what that means is you have updated the content on our cloud platform and the device itself hasn't reached out and grabbed the new content yet. So there's sometimes could be like an internet connection issue or something of that sort. Then it's got, if it's licensed, that's always going to be checked. The default layout, so this is the layout or essentially the design that's going to be on the screen when the unit's powered on. And if you have nothing scheduled, then your default layout is what's always going to play. Then interleave default. This means do you want to interleave or display essentially the default layout in between your scheduled layout. So essentially, for example, say you wanted to have a default layout of a video, just one single video repeating full screen. So you could have content scheduled, and the content scheduled could maybe be a calendar of events. It could display the calendar of events for say 60 seconds. And then if you have it interleaving the default, it'll play your video. And once the video plays once, it'll go back to your calendar of events. If nothing's scheduled, then your video will just loop. Just gives you an option there. Email alerts, you can set your display to email you if, say, it hasn't checked in for a period of time or if there's an issue with it. Logged in is whether or not the display unit is connected to our platform. So if this is checked, then you're good to go. And then some stats here, when was it last accessed, the IP address it was accessed from, its MAC address, that type of thing. So from here, you can, edit. We hit the drop-down arrow. You can edit. You can schedule content to a screen. You can set a default layout. You can assign files to it. Take a screenshot of it so you can see what's on the screen currently right now. You can do a media inventory to see what photos, videos, content is stored on the local device, and look at the recent log. Wake on LAN we don't use because all of our devices are preset to just always stay active 100% of the time. So I know there's kind of a lot, but I'm just giving like a brief overview of what these do. Display groups, so you can have different groups of display units. So for example, if you're a larger facility and you have like retail area, staff room, blah, 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 like you could have different sections and you put your displays in different display groups, and then you can schedule content out to a group of displays as opposed to having to schedule just to a single display multiple times. So it just allows you to group displays together. And then stats, this is just going to give you some statistics on, how much bandwidth you're using, if there's any availability issues, some sort of basic stats like that. Okay, so up here to media library. So in here, what we have essentially is all the content that you've uploaded over time. So this could be videos, it could be photos, it could be basically anything. This content, you can add content directly from the layout when you're designing it, but if you want to, you can go into this media library, you can add content here, and you can delete old content here. So if when you're doing some cleanup, you can easily go in here and pull content out. So that's media library. Data sets. So data sets are kind of interesting. They're like I guess like an Excel spreadsheet would maybe be the easiest way to explain that. But basically you can go in, you can create a data set based on like a CSV file or some other type of content, and then you can attach that data set to a layout. So it could be like results from a contest or something like that that's in a spreadsheet format. We don't really have many people that use data sets, so I won't go in deep into that, but just contact us if you have questions and we can help you there. So I think what I'll do now is I'm going to go straight into, well, I'll quickly touch on templates. So under design, templates. So here is where you can import and create a template that you can then apply to a layout. So a template is based off of a screen resolution. So again, under design, resolutions, we have pre-built ones that are pretty much your standard of anything out there. This would be HD 1080 landscape and then 1080 portrait. Those are your two most common. So like a standard TV is 1080p, and so the width is 1920 pixels, height is 1080 pixels, and it's landscape, so it's how a TV traditionally is mounted. Portrait mode is if you have your TV flipped 90 degrees, so it's thinner than it is taller, if that makes sense. So depending on how you have your TV oriented, then you would pick one of these two different resolutions. If you have an older TV that only does 720, then you can pick one of these two resolutions. If you're running off of a older PC monitor, we have that capability. And if you're running off of a 4K screen, we have that capability as well. Plus, you can create your own custom resolution to use on any sort of screen. So, if we combine 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 screens together into one giant wall of screens, we can do that and drive out to all of them through a video multiplexer. So yeah, lots of options there, but basically the pre-built ones should suffice for most people. Again, so the templates, this is where you can create import essentially a layout or a template, and if you already have one from an existing platform, we can accommodate that. Layouts. So this is really where you're going to spend the majority of your time. I'm going to start with a brand new layout. So I'm just going to go add layout, and I'm just going to call this one test. So up in this corner, add layout, give it a name, give it a tag if you want. I'll just put test. You can leave that blank also. A template to start with. We don't have any templates imported, so I'm just leaving it at none. So it's just going to be blank. And then here's where you pick that resolution. So again, 1080p is going to be your standard resolution. And description, you can put in a description of what this layout's going to be. This is just for you, for your organizational purposes only. And that takes us straight into the layout designer. So just going to back up a bit here. So if I go to layouts, so you see now we have test right here. And essentially now you just have to click on this guy, click the down arrow, and we want to design this layout, which is where we just were. I just kind of backed out to show you that. Okay, so first off, we can choose from our different layouts in the top right corner so that you don't have to keep flipping back and forth. A lot of people just have one layout, so you can just go in and edit this layout and away you go. By default, we're at full screen. So as you can see here, I've got this region selector, and right now the region selector is one giant screen. So if I wanted to just play, say, a video full screen, I would just leave this how it is, and I would go into this region's timeline and start adding my content. But say, for example, I wanted to have, say, a logo up here, I could do that. So I shrink this region down just by dragging and dropping. And then I could save that position. Then I can go to options and add another region. I can drag that out, leave a little bit of a border if I wanted. I could drag out another region, save that position. I could add out another region, drag it over here, save that position. I'm just going to readjust that a bit. Just purely just to show you an example, and then add another region. It's going to get super complex, but show you how this all works. So there, so now we have 4 regions. So we could say put maybe a logo or a video or a still image up in this one. We could have scrolling text or another type of image or video here. We could have scrolling text, an image, a video, or any other content here. And then this 4th region, again, scrolling text or video, image, whatever you want. So every single one of these regions, you can have as many as you want. Each region has its own timeline, and a timeline is where you add your content. So if I want to edit, say, this main big region here, I'm just going to double click on it, and it takes into the region timeline. So from here, I can add media from the library. If I've already added it down here under the media library, I can add a clock, I can add a counter, I can add something from my data sets, I can do embedded content. I can, so embedded, sorry, would be like content that's stored locally. Or if you had, say, a TV tuner in your device, then you could push live content from your TV tuner into the embedded content section. You can do flash video, which is kind of deprecated now. Still images, which is a very popular one. Local video, if it's stored locally, we're not going to do that. A PowerPoint. I don't ever recommend using PowerPoint, but we do have it. Straight text, which is another very common one. A ticker, which is pulling from an RSS feed somewhere on the internet. This is also how you would do, say, a Twitter feed if you want to link Twitter into your screens. You would do that here. Video, so this would be a video that you've downloaded either from YouTube or from wherever you've like content you've created your own. So it's video content, and then web page. So this is a web page somewhere on the internet, and we're linking the screen into that web page. So those are all the options. The most common is image, text, and video. Second most common is ticker and web page. The rest of those options are very rarely used. So for here, I'm going to do an image. So pick that guy. Oops. So I click on image. Now I have the option to add one or more files from my local computer. So I click add files. I'm just going to pull a photo. I don't know what that is. There's a picture of the hills. We'll do that guy. I can give it a name. And then duration. So this is in seconds. How many seconds do I want that image to display? 60. I can add as many photos as I want, all from here. Keep hitting add files. I can select a whole bunch. If I wanted to do, say, this guy and this guy, do 2 more. So there's that first one. Then I can go hills 2, duration, say maybe this one 30 seconds. And computer, and maybe 15 seconds. So upload all. So they're all uploaded. Assign these to the layout. So there's our region timeline. So here's the picture of the hills. It's going to display for 60 seconds. Here's the second picture of the hills. It's going to display for 30 seconds. Here's a picture of a computer. It's going to display for 15 seconds. Do I like that order? If I do, great. If I want to move things around, just drag and drop, and I can put it in a different order. Now I save the order. Done. And done. So that's this. Oh, sorry, we were editing this region, I guess. So yeah, so this region, it's got our 3 images. Now, say up here, I want to have something different displaying here. I'm going to double click that. I'm going to go, maybe we'll do a clock. We can do, say, like a flip clock. And we'll display it for 600 seconds, so 5 minutes. Just as this can kind of be confusing to people that are just starting to use the platform. This time is how often it refreshes. So say I have this at 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, if there's nothing else in this timeline, it's just going to continue to display this clock. So it won't just go to a black screen. It'll always display something. But if you have, say, 2, 3, 5, 10, 100 things in your timeline, it'll display one thing at a time, and it'll use this the duration to determine how long it's going to play before it moves to the next item in that section. So you can see there's kind of a limitless amount of possibilities. So there's our clock. And I don't know, maybe we can resize this all a little bit. Put this guy a bit more over. This guy a bit bigger. It'll resize the images automatically. Make this a little bit bigger. Now, just something like that. Save position. There you go. Now, right now, the background is just a black color. If you want to change the background to be something other than black, you can go to Options, and you go to Background. And so I can pick a flat color from the color picker. Maybe I want it to be blue. There we go. Or I can do a background image, which is very popular, so that you can have this image in the background and then content in front of it. If you want to do that, you would first off add your image under this button here, Add Image, which is going to add it to your media library, which is then going to give you the ability to pick it from this drop-down list. And then the resolution, which we already have set, and a layer we're not going to get into. I would just leave that blank. So there we go. So, and now we got a blue background. Now you notice the region boxes kind of have this like white translucent glow to them. That's not actually visible on the screens. It'll just it's just there so you can see where your regions are at, but it's not actually visible on your content. So in this region, I'll go and I'll add some, say, Actually, it's not. Should we do that? Let's do text. So we'll just go something like that. Under options, I can give it an effect. I can have it fade. I can have it shuffle, flip, marquee. So we'll marquee it up. Background color we'll leave blank. Duration, we'll give it 60 seconds. There we go. And then we can set, like, if we select our text, we can make it bold, we can center it, we can make it heading, we can choose the font, we can change the size of it. Lots and lots and lots of options. Insert a QR code, all kinds of stuff like that. Save. Again, this is one item in this particular timeline, in this particular region. I can just have one thing, or I can add multiple things and it'll play. So this text will play for 60 seconds because that's how we have it set. If I add another item below, then it'll say I have an image below it, then it'll do this text for 60 seconds, then the image for whatever duration you set. And you can have a different type of text, or you could maybe have a video. You can have it transition between all those things. So we'll save, close. So there's kind of our default test layout. It's going to look kind of ugly, but we'll do options and we'll preview this layout. So it's just going to pop up in a new browser. And there's your demo layout. I see my transition looks really weird there, so we'll fix that guy. Edit this. And under options, let's do scroll horizontal instead of marquee. Let's see how that looks. Preview. It's not scrolling on me, but gives you a very simple example of how to do a layout. I'll show you another example of something real simple. If I go in here, go background, I'm just going to get rid of the color. And I'm just going to go some sort of different background. And then I'm going to move this here. And save that position. Options. Let's preview that layout. So you can see I've got a background image now. I've got a clock. I've got this still image, which is going to display for, I think this one's set to 15 seconds, then it'll swap to a different image, and then it'll swap to a different image. There you go. See, it swapped to the Hoodoo's image there. And what I find is do your layout and then render it to your screen and then go take a look at the actual screen, because you'll find that quite quickly you'll find that there's certain fonts that look better on your particular screens and like font sizes, and then you can just build some consistency with your brand and your coloring so that everything looks the same. So I think that pretty much ends our demo. We're at about 24 minutes here, so I don't want to take too much more of your time. Again, if you've got a unit from us, we have already likely built you a layout to get you started. So you would just go, you would log in, you would go to layouts, you would go to your layout, and you'd go here and go to design. And then you can start chopping up into regions or adding your content, dragging things around, making fonts bigger, smaller, all kinds of things like that. And realistically, I always just recommend just start playing around, do something really simple with some text and a couple pictures, or maybe you just want like full screen video or something, just to really learn the platform. And then once you're up and going, it doesn't have to be perfect. Then you can start tweaking it because it's really quick and easy to go in there and make adjustments down the road. Yeah, if you have any questions, just give us a call at Reality Bytes anytime, and we're happy to help. Thanks for watching.